hope so.
Friday. It's really nice to be back in the land of the living, actually, and doing an interesting session this week.
Well, I'm glad you think it's interesting. I was a bit worried. You're such a muso, and I thought, I love Iron Maiden, I always have done. I thought, we've done some really eclectic stuff, you and I, on this podcast, which I adore. I thought, I've got to do it, and I just hope he likes it. We'll see.
Well, it's funny, isn't it? Because, hi, Eric. Glad you could join us. It was not something that I ever really listened to at the time. You know, there were the cool kids in the school, like you, that listened to it and grew their hair long. And then there were the spotty kids like me. And I was not listening to Iron Maiden. However, there were periods of that kind of, those kind of teenage years when you couldn't get away from this stuff, could you? Because it was everywhere.
Particularly in the early 80s, or the very late 70s and the early 80s, punk had died. It consumed itself. And it split off into new romantic era and stuff, and you end up with the blondies in this world. And there was a gap, and the new wave of British heavy metal appeared, and you got the likes of Motorhead, Judas Priest, Saxon, Def Leppard, Samson, Diamond Head, and the biggest band of all was Iron Maiden at the end of that process. But it just became a thing. It started to build, and it's really interesting how you get that development of a genre which kind of just blossoms and grows. A bit like I suppose one would be, I'd suggest punk would be a good example, New Romantics era, stuff like the Britpop, a good example, where you suddenly get these back. Suddenly there's lots and lots of doing similar things, and it creates a community. And I was 12 when I first discovered Iron Maiden, and then it was like, I think I've found my thing, and I think I've found my people, because it never got played on the radio.
No, I suppose not. And I think that at the time, the kind of the album sleeve graphics were quite shocking, really, in many ways, weren't they?
Oh yeah, well, hang on, I've got them all here.
Well, there's a surprise.
Let me show you the first one. Here we go. My first ever album, I still have it, is where are we? It's Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden. And that cover, as a young 12-year-old, flicking through album racks in the NAFI in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And that came up, and I was like, oh, what's that? That looks interesting. And a guy who I just moved to Germany with my dad, mum and dad, and then there was like guy next door was into it. And I was like, oh, and so I bought it. But it was the album cover drew me to it. It was like, what is that? That's really interesting. I've been ruined ever since.
Yeah, well, I don't think so, because I came to this with a preconception, and I've had a few of these kind of epiphanies with the show. I came to this with a preconception that this was going to be like a poor man's Led Zeppelin kind of thing, hard rock and not as good. And as I listened to it, I thought the vocals, but the harmonies, just absolutely unbelievable. But right, so this is from 1982. Yeah. So 1982, and this is really funny because looking back over this stuff, because this is our people of our sort of age. This was when you were starting to watch the news, and these things were having a big impact on you, because Mark Thatcher went missing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They did find him.
Dakar rally, yes.
Yeah. Laker Airlines collapsed.
Oh, Freddie Laker, yes, yeah. The first of the cheap airlines to fly.
Yeah, SkyTrain and all that. Yeah. Next opened its doors.
Oh, wow.
Clothing shop. Yeah. DeLorean went bankrupt.
Yes.
And the Falklands War began.
which my father fought in, and it's very close to my heart. Yes,
absolutely. And I think that one of the things that's really interesting when you look back is this is a pivotal moment in people of our age's lives, but it is the art world. So films that came out this year: Death Wish 2 that you'll have seen, Firefox that you'll have seen,
yes,
Poltergeist, Blade Runner, Conan the Barbarian, The Thing, First Blood, and Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, all of which fantastic. Books: The Colour Purple, The Gunslinger, The BFG, Schindler's List, Different Seasons, Life, the Universe and Everything, The Running Man, War Horse, V for Vendetta. So, I mean, like, incredible artistic stuff. And albums. So, for albums, Thriller.
Wow, yeah.
1999, Prince. Rio, Duran Duran. Avalon, The Night Fly, Business as Usual, Men at Work, Toto 4, Upstairs at Eric's, New Gold Dream, The Dreaming, Kate Bush. So, I mean, like, mega albums.
The music at the time was just fantastic, and it was really eclectic as well. What you just listed there,
absolutely.
But they were good. You could appreciate them. I'm not a massive. I love Kate Bush. I think she's fantastic. She's so unique. But I wasn't a Kate Bush fan per se.
I
appreciated what she did. It was good. It was really well produced, and it was fantastic music.
So an incredible, as you said, such a huge spread of styles, such diversity of music, and all of these different tribes, I guess. So I identified more with the Duran Duran.
The New Romantic, the back end of the new. Great band. They may have been the pop idols, but they were a bloody good band. And my band plays, Hungry Like Wolf. Fantastic song.
Yeah. So, but so many of these things, like Thriller, 1999, one of the best albums ever. Thriller, the best-selling album ever. It's just staggering, the stuff that came out this year. And obviously, I remember traveling into school and on the school bus listening to Land Down Under from Business as Usual.
Yeah.
And then later on, I discovered Toto 4, which we've done on the show, just a phenomenal album, and just so much great stuff coming out.
Yeah. So the best song ever was Phantom of the Opera by Iron Maiden. Absolutely agree. He just popped up as the Lucozade advert with Daley Thompson.
Yes.
Yeah, which was off the first album. And so a little bit about Iron Maiden, if you want
please.
Do a bit of a run through. Right, Steve Harris is the bass player. It's unusual for a bass player to run a band, but this is Steve's band, and he formed it in the mid '70s, and he was a trainee draftsman, and he went through a number of lineup changes, and then in the end, about 78, 79. He got a great guy called Paul Di'Anno as a singer, very charismatic, short hair, a bit punky, loads of attitude. They're a bunch of East End scallywags. Dave Murray, a very, very capable guitar player. Doug Sampson, who was a drummer. And then the second guitarist sort of bounced in and out on numerous occasions. Harris, very talented songwriter, and had a vision, and was incredibly focused and professional. And it's really interesting how that has driven this band all the way through to, they've sold hundreds of millions of albums, but they're absolutely fan orientated, but superbly professional. So they do that. They get the first album. By that stage, they'd been building and building. They'd literally done something called the Soundhouse tape. So they'd literally recorded for the first time 4 of their songs. And they went to a place called, I can't remember, the Music Man, which was I think it was called the Music Man. I may have got that wrong. Which was basically, it was a heavy metal disco, which was run on a Friday and a Saturday night in the East End. And they were playing Judas Priest, and they were playing Sabbath, etc. And then they played Prowler by Iron Maiden. The whole place went nuts. This is 79. It sold out. The tape sold in next to no time. And then said, right, okay, we'll get an album. EMI picked them up. And they went, right, we're going to go for this. And they had real success. Number 4, I think their first album was. First release. That's pretty good. They then went on to release a second album, Killers, changed the guitarist. Now you get Adrian Smith, who's a good mate of Dave Murray, the other guitarist. And that's the strongest bond of 2 twin guitars you get since Thin Lizzy. And the album Killers, and things are starting to go well. They've been on tour with Kiss in Europe, which was huge for them. They've also toured with Judas Priest as well. And they're really starting to build. Killers, which has got the best, I'm just going to find it, hang on. It has the best cover ever. I love it. I just adore that cover.
Yeah.
And they're on a roll, but there are some problems. New drummer. Sorry, they've got the drummer, Clive Burr, who's very, very talented. But they've got problems, and the problem is the singer. So Paul Di'Anno, the rough and ready scallywag, great attitude, not a brilliant voice, but an okay voice, starts to fall off the perch. He's drinking too much. He's not looking after himself. And we go back to that Steve Harris running the band saying, I'm not happy with this. And they're like, right, we need to change the singer. Iron Maiden also have, Iron Maiden is 6 members. And there's actually a 7th. And that is Rod Smallwood, who is the manager. And Rod runs everything. And Rod was like, right, okay, we need to change. Agreed, Steve, we need to change the singer. So they went, there was a band called Samson, and there was the singer of Samson is called Bruce. He's not, but that's what he was known as. And they were like, this guy can sing. Maybe we can look at this. And there was supposed to be a surreptitious meeting of Rod Smallwood and Bruce Dickinson at the Reading Festival in 1981. And he decided to have this meeting underneath a massive flood lamp in the middle of the sort of where everyone was congregating. And so they were stood there trying to be quiet and sort of really sneaky about it. Everyone in heavy metal was around them and could see what was going on. Anyway, Bruce was brought on, and this completely changed the band. And as you say, you mentioned the vocals earlier. Steve Harris, the main songwriter, suddenly was able to incorporate Dickinson's voice and do loads of things, and all sorts of things, opportunities opened. So instead of going down like one single route, they suddenly had allowed Harris to use his Steve Harris loved prog rock, and this starts to bleed in. And by the time you get to, hopefully we'll go on, we'll do Power Slave, and we'll and Rime the Ancient Mariner and songs off that album, which prog starts to really show more influence. And this is the start of it. It's the first album they've written from scratch. Everything else before, they pre-written and done loads of stuff.
Yeah.
And Martin Birch, very famous producer who'd done stuff with he produced In Rock and Machine Head with Deep Purple. He'd done stuff with Queen. He was a brilliant producer. He'd been on Killers, but then he started as the first album he did with Maiden, and then he gets to do this with Steve with Bruce Dickinson, who's changed his name to his real name. First thing that Rod Smallwood said was, "You got to change your name. That's stupid." Bruce. Right, what's your real name? Bruce Dickinson. Right, that's what you are. And suddenly you have Harris changing the way he does things. Martin Birch being able to take this young lad who was, Bruce Dickinson was obsessed with Ian Gillan, and having Martin Birch having produced Machine Head by Deep Purple, really knew how to take that sound and turn it into something special. And you end up with this amazing production and a band that's, this just changes everything and makes Maiden just explode.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things that strikes me about this, and I've said it many times, is that I genuinely don't believe that bands that can't play well should be making albums. So, one of the things that I find so beguiling about the Beatles is that it sounds like it's one person playing because they're so together. And, you've got that at one end of the scale. And then you've got, and I know if Paul's in the audience, he'll hate me for saying this, you've got Idols at the other end, where it sounds like they've got up on stage and it's their first run through a new piece of.
Yeah. But the snappiness is part of the charm. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I think, it's a bit like when you go to a business meeting and somebody says, yeah, I haven't had time to prepare anything, so I'm just going to wing it. Go, no, sit down, because basically when you've got that attitude, it means that you think your time is more important than mine, which is just rude.
Yeah.
Now, there is no doubt that these guys have spent an awful lot of time rehearsing and getting this tight, because everything is, there are no obvious dissonances or errors in anything that they're doing, and that enables you to relax into the music, doesn't it? You're not worrying about whether they're going to get it right or not. You can just enjoy what's going on.
And the complexity which starts to come in, which is very prog. There's time changes, there's also some they change keys a fair bit, and it's, you can't not be on your game to be able to play this. And they play it live. Everything they play, they've always been able to play live. So there's no, and I would highly recommend that when we come through to do Hallowed Be Thy Name, there is a version of it, a live version of it, which is on YouTube, which is incredible. And that's when you really realise just how good Bruce Dickinson's singing is.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
So should we kick off with the first track, Invaders?
Yes.
So I've got some notes on this, and I was fascinated to see that Steve Harris has historically expressed reservations about this track, saying that it was constructed hurriedly to fill the album, which is, I find, just absolutely unbelievable, because it's such an amazing showcase for Dickinson's voice, isn't it? It
is indeed. It's soaring chorus, absolutely. It's, as far as the band are concerned, particularly Steve Harris, he doesn't think it was a strong enough opener, and he, in terms of each of it's a good solid song and it should be on the album, but it perhaps wasn't the best opener compared to some of the other songs, but it works, and I like it. It's a good song.
Yeah.
Maybe not my favorite, but
no,
it's a good example of a great rock song.
So here we go, Invaders. Yeah, I mean, this section, it goes from that kind of driving, there's a kind of heavy metal predictability to the opening, and then all of a sudden we get into this section, which is like completely different in feel. I mean, very, very sophisticated piece of music, this.
Yeah, and it is that. Just talking about Bruce Dickinson's voice, there's a number of YouTubers who do voice. They're singers and and singing coaches, and they talk about voice. How people use their voices in singing, and they often do stuff on Bruce Dickinson, particularly with Hallowed Be Thy Name, and his diction is brilliant. You can hear every word, and when you see him sing, he sings with a very wide mouth, and he's able to articulate that with that range, which is really phenomenal.
Yeah, and actually, I think what's interesting about this as a whole genre of music is that some of the best male singers are in heavy metal bands, aren't they? You know, so whether or not you're talking about Steve Tyler, or whether or not you're talking about Brian Johnson, or these guys have got incredible voices.
Yes, yeah, unique. Ian Gillan, Led Zeppelin, even Ozzy, as we discussed, a few months ago, quite a unique voice and great for what he was singing. It was just a perfect fit, and
absolutely.
And it's almost worth, at one stage, we'll go back a stage and do the first album. You can listen to the original singer. It's good, but it's not this good.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Children of the Damned. Here I've got marking the first significant display of the band's newfound dramatic range, loosely based on the films Village of the Damned and Children of the Damned. The song transitions from somber acoustic verses to a powerful melodic chorus.
And I've heard just recently, because Iron Maiden have got 50 years this year, and they've just released a new a movie that's been released in cinema, so I'm going to go and watch it. And they say that this song was based in musically was loosely influenced by two Black Sabbath songs. One was Children of the Sea, which is the Ronnie James Dio era of Black Sabbath, which again we'll need to do at some point. And then Children of the Grave, which is the Ozzy period. So it's interesting how they melded a couple of songs that they liked from one of their and said, okay, we'll use that to influence, and then the Children of the Damned movies, and right, okay, we'll add all that together.
Yeah, yeah.
And you end up with this.
So here we go, Children of the Damned.
Completely different thing. But the songs are the same. The vocals lead this song. This is a song led by vocals, and it's reinforced by the guitars, and it's a classic Bruce Dickinson piece de resistance. It's just he's driving that song, and I've written down here is that they couldn't have done that with Paul Di'Anno. It wouldn't have worked. The song would not have worked. That way that the vocal melody just drives everything, and everything follows through. Now, not all Iron Maiden songs are like that, but this one particularly is a Bruce Dickinson.
Yeah, I mean, when it started though, your comment about how different it is to the first song, it's like there's still within the heavy metal Iron Maiden swim lane. Already we've got something which is completely different. And I think that's one of the things about this album is that there's very little repetition in this in terms of style. Every one of the songs is bringing something very different to the other songs to the table.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's fantastic. Can we talk about Eddie for 2 minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so, Eddie, hang on, I get more albums out. So so you saw the ones we did earlier, and there's Eddie at Killers. This is the album that we're talking about. With with Eddie controlling things. Eddie was started off as a head that they wanted to produce blood from back in the late 70s, and it was always a kind of a thing where it would come and spurt blood all over the drummer. There's this mask, and then someone said, well, and then they found an artist called Derek Riggs, and he'd done a picture, which I'll find as here it is, based around a human skull that was in a photograph that had been attached to a North Vietnamese tank. And he produced this picture, and it was chosen by the band, and it became a thing. And then you ended up with this. It is Iron Maiden. It is, that's the Number of the Beast. That's why Run to the Hills single, and that's a very amazing. The quality of the imagery is incredible. But Eddie became
an icon.
Iron Maiden became Eddie, and it allows the band to step back a little bit and allow Eddie to kind of. It's really weird. It's very theatrical, and it's very Broadway, but it works.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of quite interesting in as much as all metal bands have a very strong identity. So, the very strong logo. So whether it's Motorhead or Metallica or whoever it is, they've got a logo which does an awful lot of talking for them. But none of them have a mascot except Iron Maiden, really, do they?
Well, some have tried to copy it. So Megadeth had one, and Judas Priest took it on, but it was all based on the mascot. It was all based on Eddie. Eddie is the first. There probably may be another one, but Eddie is the first to really drive it. It's really fascinating. Right, enough of that. Let's get on.
So onto The Prisoner, inspired by the 60s TV show starring Patrick McGoohan, which was, I'm sure you will agree, simultaneously the weirdest program that's ever been on TV, but also the program that more than anything made you want to drive a Lotus 7.
It did. It was also quite cerebral. And they approached Patrick McGoohan, who was quite a big star, and said, could we use the intro? And he went, so who are these guys? And said, well, they're the rock band. Oh, I like rock band. So yes. And hence you get the intro that you start with. This is a great song. I love this song.
We want information. Information.
Who are you?
The new number 2.
Who is number 1?
You are number 6.
I am not a number. I am a free man.
You'd never get intros like this nowadays. We're already 2 minutes in. We haven't had any singing yet.
What did you say? Sorry?
We haven't had any singing yet. We're only a minute and a half in.
Yeah. So we're starting at this point to hear hints of the harmonies that are going to come up mostly on the second side.
Yeah.
Which are just so lush, aren't they?
Yeah. This is Martin Birch at his best. They're taking, Dickinson's singing, and Adrian Smith, who does a lot of the backing singing, is what fronted his own band, Urchin, and was the singer and the main songwriter. So he can sing as well. But they double up Dickinson and they add in Adrian, and then those harmonies just work superbly. That is a song that I feel is driven by drums. Drums and vocals drive that song.
Yeah,
and it's interesting how depending on which song it is, the drivers are often different.
Very much so.
And it's a great example of Steve Harris writing style in terms of utilizing the melody in Dickinson's voice. The solos are great in it. A really solid song.
Yeah, well, and also interestingly, the spoken piece at the start, also obviously Vincent Price's spoken bit at the start of Thriller from the same year.
Yes, and we talk about Vincent Price, but it's not Vincent Price in a little bit on the second half.
So moving on to the last track of side one, 22 Acacia Avenue. So in my notes, I've got this served as a sequel to Charlotte the Harlot from the band's debut album. So this song began as a composition by Adrian Smith for, as you said, the band Urchin that he was formerly with, and was expanded by Harris, and explores the darker, more tragic reality of the character's life.
Yeah, and this is really fascinating because it's a song of two halves, and there's the riff and the melody in one part of the song. It's not actually in halves; it's in bits.
Yeah.
And then you get the laddish bit, and then you get the let's save Charlotte, and then there's the Charlotte's the harlot and all the rest of it. And it's beautifully done. I think it's a really clever song. E minor. Always, I'm always in E minor. 22 Acacia Avenue. If you're waiting for a long time for the race to do their best, you can tell her that you know it. You might even get free. So anytime you barely stand, don't you hesitate to know. I mean, great end to the first side, and I think probably we should talk about the performance of the album, because in the days when being number one in the charts actually meant something, which it tends not to these days. I mean, looking at sales, so this was platinum in the UK, platinum in the US, triple platinum in Canada, gold in Germany, gold in Austria, platinum in Australia, gold in France, gold in Japan. So, I mean, the album sold incredibly well globally. Yeah, oddly, I mean, although it was platinum in the US, it only ever got to number 33 in the charts, which is strange. So one can only assume it was there for an awfully long time. It was there for a very long time, and Maiden broke the States in 1985 on the Power Slave tour, which nearly killed the band because it ended up being they were in the US for nearly a year, and they did it twice to build that. But they went with this album to the US and started to this was the first time they'd been to, I think they may have gone on Killers, but only for a short period of time. They actually toured themselves in for this album, and this is where it started building. And then by the time you get to 1985 and they released Power Slave, it's gone mental. And yeah, it really, it was number one in the UK. Not half bad for the third album on a relatively, a band that's not played on the radio. That was really good. Number 7 for Run to the Hills.
But also remembering what else it's up against.
Yeah,
you know, so like 1999, Rio, Avalon, Business as Usual, Toto, Upstairs at Eric's, New Gold Dream. I mean, it's like it's not like it's the only good album of the year. So to get to number 1 in amongst all of these other albums is quite an achievement.
Yeah, and I want to a bit later. We'll talk about storytelling because that's a really important part of Iron Maiden.
Yeah, so we got to the end of side 1. We've turned the record over. And we've got the title track from the album.
Yes,
number
which is just again become a bit zeitgeisty because it was it's just been in 28 Days After, so it's the 28 Days movies. The very latest one. It's a major part of that whole movie. Yeah, let's go for it.
And apparently this was inspired by a nightmare Harris experienced after watching Damien the Omen 2, which you can kind of see. And I mean, that was quite a nasty film, wasn't it? That was when the bloke got cut off by the lift cable and the woman got her eyes pecked out at the side of the road. So not a very nice film. This was the one where the words are read by Barry Clayton, because they wanted Vincent Price to do it, but his fee was too high.
Yes, that's right.
So kind of quite interesting how these things unfold. So here we go. The Number of the Beast.
Woe, O earth and sea, for the devil sends the beast with wrath, because he knows the time is short. Let him who hath understanding reckon the number of the beast, for it is a human number. Its number is 666.
I left alone. My mind was blank. I needed time to think, to get the memories from my mind. What did I see? Can I believe that what I saw that night was real and not just fantasy? Just what I saw in my old dreams were the reflections of my woman staring back at me. 'Cause in my dreams, it's always there. The evil face that twists my mind and brings me to despair.
I mean, this is just an amazing showcase for Dickinson's voice, isn't it?
Do you know the story of the Scream?
No.
Right. Martin Birch made him scream and made him scream and made him scream. And after about the 20th one, Dickinson lost it and just fucking screamed at Martin Birch. And that was the scream that they ended up using.
Fantastic.
Because he said, no, more. I want more cowbell. Poor Bruce Dickinson was at the end of his tether. It's a classic Iron Maiden song. It's played in every single gig. It's great storytelling. I love the solos in it. It has great breakdowns and interplay. And I love it when it says, I'm coming back, I will return. The initial spoken bit is actually from the Book of Revelations. Mm-hmm. And it's read beautifully. Yeah, you listen to it and you think
it's quite interesting, isn't it? That when he starts to read it, you think it is Vincent Price. When he gets into it, you realise it's not. But at the beginning, it's almost like an impression of Vincent Price.
Yes, yeah, fantastic song. Love it to bits.
Yeah, so that is one of my favourite songs from the album.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not surprised.
My favourite song from the album is the next song.
Okay.
Which I just think is a masterclass in vocals and harmonies. I think Run to the Hills is just a breathtakingly good song.
Oh, good. Simple, but relatively simple. This is incredible. This is all written on the most of Harris's stuff in this period was written on the bass guitar. He plays with fingers, and he plays and he has the action incredibly low, which means it's quite. But he plays incredibly quickly, and it's almost impossible for me to. I can't play this on the bass. It's just too fast. And it's like a metronome. And it's also got this gallop, which we'll go on to this, and it's it's about American radio. When you talk about you've probably got a little bit about what the song is about, but when you listen to the music, it absolutely reflects the story.
Yeah, and so this was the most commercially successful song from the album, apparently, the most commercially successful single from the album. So here we go, Run to the Hills. I mean, this is just the absolute epitome of what a good heavy metal song should be for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's got a great story. It's a quite political song. It's about how the Americans basically murdered and killed the Native Americans, and it's done with great panache, fantastic singing. The song, that bass, that gallop, as it's called, sounds like horses running.
Yeah.
So it's evocative. It makes the whole thing work. There's another song of an album called The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, which does exactly the same thing, but even better, even bigger scale, 13 minutes long, about Coleridge's poem. It's so clever at that. I love the song. It's brilliant. I've screamed it at gigs many times watching them live. Just brilliant.
Yeah, oddly, this comment here, very little head bobbing. Yeah, I was going to do some head banging, but clearly I haven't really got the hair for it anymore.
I used to. I still leap about like an idiot, given half the chance.
So Gangland. It says the inclusion of Gangland remains a point of historical contention. The band chose this track over Total Eclipse to fill the final slot on the LP, relegating the latter to a B-side, while Gangland offers a frantic percussion-driven look at the criminal underworld. Apparently, Harris has expressed deep regret over the decision, believing Total Eclipse was the superior song.
And they've put Total Eclipse back onto the album on re-releases.
Right.
But they put Total Eclipse back on because they had 9 songs and they only had space for 8. So they were in a rush to get Run to the Hills out, and they needed a B-side, so they went, right, well, let's use Total Eclipse, which I like. And I don't know if we're going to do Total Eclipse. I don't know if we have time, but I like this song. It's a good song. I think it's another Urchin song that's been redeveloped. But it's a bit like Invaders, good, but not amazing. We've got a couple more really strong songs to come. So
So here we go, Gangland.
Great song. So it's really love that. My favourite bit. This is my favourite bit just coming up here when it goes, once you were glad to be free. Yeah, that's fantastic. That piece is, I just love it. I just love the way that Dickinson's voice just drags you through it, and it's very well articulated. Great lines as well.
Yeah, and the way that the drums syncopate that rhythm that is established in the previous bit of the song, and it's like tripping over itself almost, which is kind of adds a certain impetus, doesn't it, to the way?
Yeah, and there are very distinct parts. It's almost like classical music. You get movements. There are distinct movements in Iron Maiden songs, and quite a lot of heavy metal songs actually, where it's not just four chords and just bang 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 bang. It's always got something different going on. Right.
So, you said about Total Eclipse. So let's put Total Eclipse in now, because this is normally where in the reissues this is where this would show up. So here we go. This is Total Eclipse. This is the remaster from 22.
Quite Judas Priesty, this song.
Yeah, I mean it is a better song, isn't it? It is, the kind of the backwards and forwards between that da, 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 bass bit and the rest of the song is quite hypnotic.
And there's some lovely time changes in it, and the vocals when he's in the chorus are stratospheric again, really really good, and he's back and it waves back between the sections, really, all the movements, if you want to call it that. Right, best song on the album as far as I'm concerned. Next,
Hallowed Be Thy Name.
Yes, this is the one. If you want to introduce someone to Iron Maiden, I play them this song.
And this is a monster, isn't it? In a period when most songs were like 3 or 4 minutes, seven and a bit minutes on a song is quite a lot. Yeah. And I guess part of the reason why they weren't able to put the last one, Total Eclipse,
on the album, because he had 6.5 minutes for Number of the Beast and 7.5 minutes, and by the time they get to Power Slave, the album Power Slave, it's 13.5 minutes. So it's very proggy, and it becomes more proggy as it goes along.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this song. The intro is brilliant, and if we can do the intro and then the bit near the end where it changes and accelerates.
Yeah. So here we go. This is Hallowed Be Thy Name, final track on the second side of the album. Actually, just on that point, this is, you said about it being proggy. This is already proggy, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of the kind of Rick Wakeman, Six Wives of Henry VIII kind of keyboard stuff going on here. That feel, isn't there?
Yeah, and this is where Dave Murray is playing fingerpicking on his guitar for those initial chords, and then it changes to him playing with a pick with a bit of distortion, and then it changes the whole band whilst Dickinson's voice plays out, and the whole thing just goes from here to there.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Cause at 5 o'clock they take me to the gallows pole. The sands of time for me are running low.
Try doing this. They scream to the end. How do you do that?
When the priest comes to read me the last sight, take a look to the bars of the last sight. I'm a wall that has gone very wrong to me. Can it be that the sun's on a mirror? Not to stop the melting terror. Is it really the end, not some crazy dream? Somebody please tell me that I'm dreaming. It's not easy, it's not from scratch.
Right, so I'll whiz it forward to
There's it's about 2 minutes out, and it just goes mad, and when you're in a crowd, it just goes mental. The whole crowd just explodes, and it makes you want to bang your head. It makes you want to move. It's brilliant.
Here we go.
It's that great solos. When when Dickinson's in the he's literally directing the audience, and so when that's going, he's moving his hands and he's getting everyone to sort of jump up at the different times, and the whole thing, you feel part of the family.
Yeah. I mean, that's an amazing gift, isn't it? If you go to a concert and you feel that you're something bigger than just sitting listening to a piece of music.
Yeah, and an Iron Maiden gig is that, absolutely that, and hence why that. Afterwards, I'll drop into a link in to the comments to the one that the YouTube video from the '82 during the Hammersmith Odeon gig. It's just fantastic. Love it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a great song to finish the album with. And as I'm reading more notes on this, in the States this year it reached number 33 in the Billboard 200, representing the band's most significant showing in North America. And earning it a platinum certification. By 2023, global sales of the record were estimated to have reached approximately 20 million copies.
Yeah,
that's an awful lot of people playing Iron Maiden in their houses, isn't it?
It is. I think I used to have about 3 copies of it. I had the, I've got the digital copy. I've got the original albums that I bought when I was a kid, and I bought CDs. Yeah, and yes, it is one of the classics. It is like normally in the top 5 best heavy metal albums in the world. It's often in the top 100 of
best albums
to get, and it is that transition. And if you listen to certainly the first 8 Iron Maiden albums, you can see that this is where the band takes off.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's so much. There's so much going for it. It's well written. It's beautifully performed. It's telling a really important story, or a big story. It's more than just a bunch of random words. Like Oasis. It's just word salad.
Yeah.
It's a good example of this genre of music.
Yeah, I'm so pleased you like it. I really am. I was
thrilled.
Slight trepidation. I thought, I'm not sure whether you'd like it or not. But then recognizing just how complex it is, I thought, I think you will like it. And I'm really
and good music is good music. So I wouldn't say that I wouldn't normally listen to this kind of thing. I haven't listened to Iron Maiden particularly, but I'm not averse to a bit of heavy metal from time to time.
Yeah.
But it's like anything. A crap band and crap music, it reflects badly on the whole genre, doesn't it? So yes, as Eric says, next week something completely different. I'm being joined by Eric from Stockholm, and we're going to do the best of Barry White, which is certainly a good shift from Iron Maiden.
No, but that is I'm looking forward to that, and I always like Eric's stuff.
Yeah,
really
so Sean, thank you so much. Fantastic album, really enjoyable, and I hope to see everybody next week, and I see you again soon, Sean.
Yeah.
But to play out, seeing as it's my favourite song, I'm going to put on a bit of Run to the Hills again, just for the last minute.